I start this video out with a great shot of this guitar. You guitar historians and vintage guitar geeks know exactly what this is. Yep, there it is in all its glory. I'll give you a full look at the instrument with the original knobs. These would be on unobtainium. And all the wear and smoke staining that has happened from being in cigarette-filled bars and clubs, probably, or homes, from when this guitar was built. The speckled, beautiful speckled pick guard, very cool. Looks like a rosewood fingerboard that's just covered in guck. We might try and bring that a little bit back to its original shape. The fretwork on this feels pretty good. It's not total cheese grater, but there is definitely some shrinkage that's happened in the neck. A 3-bolt neck mount there. Very interesting setup for that. But boy, this thing's definitely been played. You can see all the paint's been worn off of the neck. Well, we're going to open this bad boy up to kind of check on a year or date code on this. Looks like that's how they were able to hold this in place. Everything was done very cheaply back in the day. Look at the date code on the volume pot here, and get it. 27th week, 1959. So we have to assume that this has probably hit the stores in 1959. Well, here we are. We have the old Silvertone guitar. This is a model U-1. The U-2 had 2 pickups in it. The U-1 has the 1 pickup. Lots of issues with this. We've got to get this pickup springs replaced in here. I've got to get these screws, set screws that hold the bridge in place, repaired and get those solid and make this thing playable. And I have some electronic issues in this that I've got to repair. The pickup selector switch is acting, and it feels a little weird. Seems to be mechanically okay, but it does feel a little funky. We're going to clean up the fingerboard and get that treated with oil. And we're going to get the old headstock, the logo up there on the headstock. Well, we'll take a flyby right there. Is very loose. It's going to fall off there. That will be one of the first things I do once I get the strings off of it. And it's kind of cool. The owner has asked me to save these strings and give them back to him, so I'm going to do that for him. So here we go. We're going to get her fixed. Yeah, so for cleaning this surface up to get the glue to make good contact, I'm going to use some Roncinol lighter fluid. Gonna just do a little test here. Okay, I think we're about ready to go here. Okay, I've rehearsed putting the logo back on here and how to start at this end where I've got a good mark and a good location, and I've got that spot there, so I know where those need to sit. I don't want this running all over the place. We're going to see if I can get it to come down my nice little fine tip here, and we'll have a little cleanup to do once I get it on here. Here we go. Really liking the new super glue that I have. Alright, there we go. That's how you do that. Alright, so we've got the logo glued on, and now it's time to remove the bridge and saddle
assembly. I've taped the saddle to the top of the guitar. That screw is definitely loose. This comes off of here. Okay. Clean this away. So I can see what I'm going to have to do here is fill these holes. These screws are all pulling forward on this. We'll see if this one's bent or... No, it's not bent. It's definitely going up at an angle. So this thing took a hit or the years of pressure. Yeah, so I see how that screw head sits in there. Okay. Screws look good. They're just okay. That's a ground wire. I can see. Well, and all. Let's see how clean we can get it. Whoop. Let's get some wood filler in here and get these holes filled in so that when we drive those screws in there, they bite some wood. Those holes have been rounded out. All right, there we go. We'll get that. All right, so it's time to start gluing up our new wood that we're going to fill these holes with. And I've got some toothpicks sitting here ready to go. We'll fill any extra space with a little bit of toothpick. I'm only putting glue on the wood going in here, and I've got my ground for that exposed so that when I put the screw back in there, it will catch the ground. There we go. And get a wet rag here and wipe up a little bit of this excess glue. Take a toothpick here and see if we got some space here that we can fill. Oh yeah, look at that. You want to have a good solid anchor for the screw to screw into, and have some wood here so that the screw does its job. This pin is what you, or this screw hole here is what you will adjust the string action with, and we'll get to that here in a few hours after I've given this a chance for the glue to set up. Yeah, that looks great. And here we go with this one. Oh, let's see, we've got they fit in there awful tight. Time for some more glue. And then let me put my rag back down here so I don't drip glue on the guitar. I want to be really careful about that. And I'm using a pretty good amount of glue. Elmer's wood glue, in my opinion, does a better job at filling gaps. Toothpicks. Wipe up this excess glue. Get that out of there. Whoop. Got it all over my hands. There we go. Now, I'll take a toothpick. Let's see where we have. You can see wood glue squeezing out as I tap that in, so I know I'm getting a little more penetration. Nice. And our last peg here, wood filler. This one fits pretty good and tight, but I think I'll be able to still get a toothpick in beside it. toothpick going here. See what I can do to tighten this one up a little. Oh yeah, you feel it going down in there. Excellent. Got good solid penetration. I'm going to try one more. I'm going to try one more toothpick right here. It looks like I've got a little gap there. Yep. Feel that going in. Alright, so we'll let this dry up and give it a couple hours here to let the glue dry. And then we will think about putting the bridge back on it. Look at these old screws. These are the original screws. They haven't been replaced. That's just really cool. So now, while I've got that going, I've got some other stuff I want to do on this instrument. Most importantly, I think at this point, I'm going to start looking into this pickup situation here. And let's go ahead and take a look in here, because there are some repairs that need to be made inside of here. We're going to check the electronics, I think. Let's see if I can get that out of there. Yep, that's all they use. So you can get this out of the, you don't want to glue this into place so that you can get in here and work on this. So this just sits in there, and ultimately when you tighten down that screw, it pinches the cover into position. What I will do in this, probably drill another hole in this piece of fiberboard to get this screw to bite. And you can see very little amount of thread off the back side of that, so there's not much holding that in place. So we want to try and get that to stay a little better. So time to check some electronical work. Here we go. Alright, so I went over to our local hardware store. Alright, so I went over to our local hardware store, and they had some screws over there that are very close to resembling the original screws that hold the neck on. Here's our electronical cavity. That feels good and solid. And it's nice and tight. Let's see if this thing makes any noise. It sounds like it does. I'm gonna flip this bad boy over. Let's tap a pickup. Oh my goodness. Okay. So volume and tone. So let's see what these controls are supposed to do. I think this inserts, it engages certain size capacitors for tone control, I believe. I'm going to look up some information about these on the old interwebs. I know not much about this guitar yet, other than it's a U1. There you go. Well, in my typical form, I failed to push record. But what I've done is I repaired the pickup selector switch. Now it just feels a whole lot better. This switch has a little piece of plastic in here that pivots a copper device that tilts, and when you flip it this way, it pushes this side down, which makes contact with this side of the switch. In the middle, it does nothing, and then this direction, it makes contact with this switch, which engages these capacitors. So both directions have an alternate tone variable that they use. Also, we got that fixed, and it was making contact, and so we knew we had continuity here, but the knob wasn't doing anything. And imagine what happened. I shot it with some electrical contact cleaner, and it works now. So the tone controls, the electronics in this seem to be working perfectly. So I can't wait to get strings on this. I have a bit more work to do. There are some solder joints in here. This ground I'm a little nervous about. It just doesn't look real good. And also this ground from the bridge broke loose. I believe it was connected here someplace. So We're going to repair those couple of little things, and I think I'm going to throw a piece of insulation on this ground just to make sure that we don't touch stuff we're not supposed to be touching. Well, and the electronics are now all finished up in there. They look nice and tidy as we can make them. Insulated this ground so that it's not making contact with any of these caps or anything, and looking pretty good. I'm feeling pretty confident about all the solder joints. I resoldered this ground and reattached this ground, and everything's working. So I think we're off to the races. So we're about to put the bridge and saddle back on this instrument. So I'm going to center punch these holes. Yeah. We can center where these screws will go. Pre-drill our holes and run some screws down in there. Alright, let's get some holes drilled. What do you say? Alright, so I have cleaned up the fingerboard and cleaned up the frets, and we're going to bring this old piece of beautiful rosewood back to life. And you know, I saved you the agony of having to watch me do that. You've seen 1,000 videos of guys scraping guitar necks with a razor blade, right? Oh, look at that. 60 some odd years of a guitar coming back. I doubt this neck has ever been treated with oil. About ready to throw strings on this bad girl. Ha ha ha. Oh, she's going to be making noise in just a few minutes here. Alright, there she is. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Just beautiful. Look at that. Wow. Alright, so I'm going to document putting these strings on this guitar. I'm probably going to fast forward through a lot of this for you, but I want to see about how long it takes me to do this. According to the clock up there, it is exactly 5:50 right now. I'm using a set of Ernie Ball regular Slinkies, 10 to 46. We're going to go ahead and use 10s on this, and we'll see how the neck responds to the string tension. You ready? You ready? Here we go. Yeehaw. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Before I get started, I need to I'm gonna loosen this screw just a little bit so I can get that up a little bit higher. Get those balls down there where they go. All right. Now, here we go. I think. So, interesting. What do we do here? Well, now this is an interesting scenario I've got going here. It's the first guitar I've ever put strings on that has a bridge like this. Okay, boy, really? So that ball has to go in sideways? What do we do here? Alright, okay, this bridge sucks. Just kind of point out how little is holding that on, and the only way to really remedy that would be to remove some material off of this and alter the actual saddle. I mean, there is almost nothing holding that string on there. It's amazing. I can't believe that that doesn't just pop right out of there, but with the string tension on it, it does fine. So it'll be good. But if you're playing heavy metal on this, I'm guessing that would probably pop out of there at some point. Alright, I'm going to keep moving on. It's time to go home. I'm going to go home. All right, happy Monday. We're back to stringing up the old Silvertone. Wow, there you go. It's all strung up. All right, let me get this thing tuned up, and we'll see how she does. Well, we're down to the last little bit of work that I got to do on this, and that is reattaching the cover plate. Yep, with the original screw. What I've done here is taken the old one. These threads where this was held on are stripped completely out, so I drilled a new hole. We'll place this in here in its appropriate position. Got to get that thing lined up just right. Almost there. Almost. Almost. Boom. Wait, I said boom. My goodness. I can't steal that line. Shouldn't steal that line. Okay, now we're getting a good bite. Oop. Yep. Yep. Getting some good threads biting on that bad boy. Make sure we got it snug and not stripped. Boom. I think that's, I'm just being really careful because we're cutting threads here. Boom, there it is. All right. Fits nice in there. It ain't going anywhere. Yep. And the Silvertone is ready for making music again. There she is. All the electronics are cleaned up. Everything works perfectly. The setup is as good, as close as it can be gotten. The intonation is set on the saddle here. The strings don't seem to want to pull out, and I've got the string height set just right on this bad boy. Let's play it, see what kind of noise it can make. Well, here she is. Beautiful 1959 Silvertone. Look at that name on the headstock. Isn't that beautiful? With the dolphin nose headstock, flat fingerboard. And if it does have a radius, it's like a 36, almost perfectly flat. Electronics are in perfect working order. All of the components, screws have been replaced, so went over that in the video. I think I'm going to make a little noise with it, and to do that I have chosen my True Tone period correct amplifier. It has an on-off switch and a volume knob, and that's it. I'm using the volume control and the tone control and the tone selector switch. This is a tone selector switch, so in the upper position it engages in the tone control a resistor, and as you turn this control, it engages or disengages the resistor. And in this position, it engages a couple of capacitors, which gives it that real flat, dull tone. Sends a lot of the top end to ground, I believe. And in the middle position, this is disengaged. There's definitely noise, but
Yep, we're going
Hello.
back that way.
the resistor really doesn't do a whole lot to the tone. There's a small subtle shift, probably not even audible in the camera. But kind of a cool thing that I've found I can do is roll the tone off on the pickup selector switch. So have it in the down position. We'll do a little loop here. Playing a nice without any trouble at all. Really kind of a cool control panel on this. So the 59 Silvertone is ready to go home. And I'm really grateful to Tom for letting me work on his instrument. Peace, brother. 59 Silvertone, one more look. Here she is.
Nice guitar. This will do wonderful.
Look at that.
Oh, yes.
If you have any questions, comments, put them in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. I do field most of the questions that people ask, and happy to get back to you and happy to hear from you. If you have any information about these that maybe I haven't shared in the video, please add those to the comments. I'd love to see, or I love to learn, and your feedback is really wonderful. Peace, y'all. Have a great day. Peace.
My name is Marshall. Thanks for joining me. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you'll get a note when I put up a new video. And I appreciate all of my new subscribers. It's really wonderful to see so many people joining my channel. The guitar is currently plugged through a Hall of Fame reverb pedal set to a room reverb into a Hughes & Kettner 2Meister 18 on the clean channel with the EQ basically straight up. I've boosted the mids slightly and boosted the treble slightly, and the guitar just sounds fantastic. Shall we hear it? If you roll the tone all the way back, you'll get a really dull, kind of bassy tone. Here it is. And if you want to deactivate that knob, excuse me, so the knob does nothing. So 0 tone difference. And if you move it to the up position, it's a 3-position switch, it activates a resistor that creates some very small tonal differences. I'm rolling the knob all the way off. Cuts a little high end out of the tone of the guitar, and again with the knob, with this 3-position switch all the way in the down position currently. Again with the tone control all the way up, and we'll roll it back about halfway. A little bit of top end loses, and now we start to really hear it. The second half on the rolling off portion of this control really flattens it out a lot. All the way off at this point, and about 2 o'clock. The brightness starts to come back. I'm just rolling it, very small movements. And with the tone control disabled,